Hi everybody, old Gary out here at the Fishing Shack, and welcome to this week's Fishing Chums Fishing Report. Here we are, the third week of November already. Good gosh, Thanksgiving week's coming. I tell you, what a great time of the year. And we have some pretty good fishing reports. Fishing hasn't been all that bad. Of course, deer season started over the past weekend. A lot of activities taking place. But the old boys that are going out and gals going out are catching some nice fish. So we'll be having this report for you. And first of all, I want to thank all the viewers this past week on Facebook and of course, over on YouTube. We had over 9,000 viewers last week. Thank you very much. A lot of viewers for this time of the year. Not that many people fishing, so thank you. Thank you very much. Kathy and I have some wonderful photos at the end of the program, so don't go anywhere because we love to roll these great photos that you folks send in to us at the end of the show. I know you're really going to enjoy it. So we have some fishing to talk about, so let's go fishing.
Fish and Chums!
Well, that's right. Not a lot of people out there on the waters. People are deer hunting and other activities, but the few people who have been going out this week have really caught some nice fish. We have some great photos for you. And so let's get with it. Let's go out to Beaver Lake. That water temperature this morning when I checked it was 48 degrees, my reporter said. 48. Had other reports up in the 50s as well. So some pretty good crappie fishing for the few people that's been crappie fishing out at Beaver. Some nice fish, anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 feet of water up for some of the structure. Jigs, some of the people are using small jigs. That bite can be tough when you get down there with that small jig, 32nd ounce. Maybe you can pick up some fish. Other people are using jig and minnows too. Few walleye have been caught, not many, trolling flicker shads down at the lower end of the lake, off some of the flats. And we've had some good reports of a few nice stripers being caught out at Beaver this week as well. So check out Beaver. You might want to try that trout fishing down below the dam as well. Let's go out at Table Rock this morning. 56 degrees on the surface, and Ron Freeman was out the other day. Look at this nice bass he caught on a jerkbait. That's that time of the year, jerkbait fishing. Better get those jerkbaits out. Good going, Ron. Nice fish. Also, Darren McCall was out just a couple days ago, and look at these two beautiful bass that Darren caught. Really nice fish. And kind of a overall pattern of Table Rock right now. You can catch them shallow. You can go out deep, catch them as well. And back in some of the creek areas, they're starting to show up. Don't overlook, I tell you what, the crankbaits are starting to come on, the square-billed crankbaits and the spinner baits as well. They've been picking up some fish out on the main lake, those main lake points, as we've been talking the last few weeks on the program. Get the old Ned rig out, guys. If all else fails, go to the Ned rig. You can catch them shallow, especially on the overcast days, up and around 5 to 7 foot of water, kind of work your way down. And some people are going down around 15 feet off those long gravel points. But the Ned rig, don't overlook it. That will save a bad day into a pretty good day. And they're also still doing some drop shot fishing out there, a little bit deeper water, over 30 feet of water. But I tell you, there's been some jig fishing as well, and some of the people, guys have been going out and getting the old spoons out, and also the grubs. That time of the year when some of these fish start following those shad back into those big arms, the creek arms. So check this out for the upcoming weekend. A few, not too much to report on the walleye, but a few crappie are still showing up. And they've been picking up some of these fish over the brush and also the pole timbers, jig and minnow combination, and also some around the docks and the brush piles. Not many people fishing for them, but the fish that they are catching are really nice quality out at Table Rock, the crappie. Well, you know, they've been running quite a bit of water out at Lake Taneycomo through the turbines, not only the turbines, but the dams and the gates. They pretty well shut that down, but they've been, let's see, look at 55 degrees on the surface out at Lake Taneycomo this morning. And so when they are generating water, the drift fishing's been good. And when they were running all that water over the gates, boy, a lot of shad come through. And so white baits have been really paying off at Lake Taneycomo. White jigs, like a 16th ounce. If you do have some current, you may want to go to an 1/8 ounce, but I like a 16th or even a 32nd ounce, and pitch that out with light line and slow roll it. Boy, that's been catching some real nice quality fish. Some of the people are still using bait. Night crawlers is still like it's been for weeks and weeks and weeks. They've been drifting some night crawlers out there, catching some trout as well. I've had some reports of some fish being caught on jerk baits too, some nice trout. So look at Taneycomo for the upcoming weekend. Looks like there's going to be some nice trout caught out there. Okay, out at Bull Shoals, the water temperature this morning was 54 degrees. And something I do want to talk about just briefly is get the old wiggle warts out. It's getting to be that time of the year. They're starting to pick up a few fish out at Bull Shoals. And I do want to say over at Table Rock as well. So get the wiggle warts out. But anyway, on the overcast days at Bull Shoals, they've been picking up some nice bass. They've been going about halfway back into the creek arms, and they've been slow rolling spinner baits, throwing some square-billed crankbaits, some wiggle warts, and some swim baits as well. Getting back out on the main lake, especially on the overcast days on those points, use your electronics and find the shad. And just points and secondary points, they may be down 20, 25, 30 feet of water. Get out there with a light spoon, also some grubs, and up on the points when it's overcast, you can throw some wiggle warts or square-billed crankbaits, slow roll some spinner baits too, I understand, and pick up some bass. Pitching some jigs up around the docks. And the crappie fishing is coming on a little bit stronger for the few people that's crappie fishing out at Bull Shoals. They're getting those brush piles, 15, 20, 25 feet of water, might even try shallower. But the ones who are fishing for crappie in the brush piles are really picking up some nice fish. And jigs, light jigs, are also jigging minnows. Get out and try some crappie fishing at Bull Shoals this weekend, and try some of the docks as well. I think you could catch some nice crappie at Bull. Not much to report on the walleye this week. If I was going walleye fishing at Bull Shoals this weekend, I'd try two different things. I'd use the flicker shads and troll up and around 12, 14, 16, 18 feet of water. And if that didn't do it, get a jig and night crawler and kind of drift with your trolling motor off these points. You might pick up a nice walleye. One thing about the walleye at Bull Shoals, when you catch one, it's usually a dandy. You might try that. Okay, let's go out to Stockton Lake. The water temperature was 52 degrees out there this morning. Hey, my buddy Jeff Deckert was out the other day. Now look at these. Look at these. These are really big crappie, Jeff. Nice fish. And so he's been fishing both Stockton and Pomme de Terre, but he was out at, I believe, Stockton the other day and picked these fish up. And so there's some nice crappie fishing taking place out at Stockton. Some people are going up in the river and picking up fish. Some people are fishing shallow. Some people are down around 15 to 20 or over 20 feet of water with jigging minnow. Some people are swimming minnows, whatever. Boy, there's some nice crappie being caught out at Stockton. Few walleye are showing up yet out on the points at the lower end of the lake on the points and secondary points. Use about an 1/8 ounce jig head, maybe a quarter if it's a little bit windy. Go with half a night crawler or a night crawler and use your electronics and just work the points back and forth. You might pick yourself up a walleye out at Stockton. Bass fishing has been fair. Very few people fishing out there for bass right now, but I understand there's some pretty good bass being caught on flipping some jigs. Also, they've been picking up some fish, slow rolling spinner baits and crankbaits. Let's go out to the photo of the week. My golly molly, there's been some nice fish caught over at Pomme de Terre and Stockton, as we just seen Jeff had. But look at Eric Massey. Boy, he was out the other day with his wonderful son. Look at these beautiful crappie. Eric, the photo of the week from Pomme de Terre. Love that lake. Beautiful lake. And that just shows you has some real quality crappie can be caught at Pomme. In fact, look at his son holding those fish up. Man, he's a crappie fishing kid, that's for sure. Got a great teacher, huh? And they've been picking up some fish around the bridge pilings. They've been picking up some fish in the brush piles. And sometimes they're flipping small jigs and slow rolling them up in very shallow water and around some of the docks too, I understand, the docks. So check out Pomme de Terre this weekend for nice crappie. Photo of the week, Eric. Good going, my friend. Good going. Okay, let's go out to Truman Lake. It was 47 degrees out there this morning at Truman. They're still catching crappie at the lower one-third of the lake, as I would recommend. Some people are still getting out on the flats and working some of the pole timber and the brush and the cedar trees, but they're starting to move into that winter pattern a little bit out at Truman. At lower one-third of the lake, they're using the points, some of the brush piles on the bluff ends, and working the bluffs, using your electronics and finding those schools of shad and crappie, and they're really picking up some nice crappie out at Truman. Ron Henley was out the other day. Look at Ron. Nice crappie. I'm telling you, they're catching them out at Truman. And if you want to go catfishing, I tell you what, my old buddy Jordan Lear was out yesterday. Just yesterday. We're taping this on Thursday, so it was Wednesday. And look at this nice cat that Jordan picked up yesterday. Jordan, good going. That's a nice cat. And that's out at Truman. Boy, I imagine that cut shad like he likes to use. And they caught several cats out there yesterday. So if you want to go catfishing, head out to Truman for the upcoming weekend. Okay, bass fishing continues to be pretty good at Truman as well. Not many people fishing, but the guys are going down still around Bucksaw. Seems to be a good area. Slow rolling spinner baits, using square bill crankbaits, and pitching some jigs out in that area. Try bass fishing anywhere on the lake. It can be a great bass lake. Okay, let's go out to Lake the Ozarks. The water temperature this morning was 54 degrees out at the lake. And I tell you what, the crappie fishing is good for the few people fishing for crappie right now. And they're flipping small jigs around the docks. That's what they're doing for most of the crappie right now. Some people are catching some fish off some of the brush piles. But I tell you what, if you have some good docks, where the crappie like to hang out this time of the year, get out there with small jigs, 16th, or even if they're fussy, go to a 32nd ounce. And the crappie fishing has been real good at times at Lake the Ozarks. Try that for the upcoming weekend. Few bass are showing up out at the lake. They've been pitching some jigs and also some swim baits. And I've heard reports of wiggle warts and jerk baits, and of course slow rolling spinner baits and square bill crankbaits as well at the Lake of the Ozarks. Out at Norfolk, the water temperature is 56 degrees out there when I checked with my reporter. And I tell you what, back into the creek arms are the key. That's where to go right now. A lot of shad are back into the creek arms. They're picking up some stripers back there, mid-creek arm. They're picking up some crappie and in the brush in around 20, 25 feet of water, jig and minnow are small spoons, those brink spoons. And they've been picking up some walleye out there as well. So Norfolk looks good for the upcoming weekend. Kind of a quick report for you today. The weather, the next couple of days, Friday, today when this thing's airing, a little bit cool. It's going to be kind of cool through the weekend, but not that cool. We can't get out and get bit. So we hope you get out this weekend. I want to thank you once again for the over 9,000 views we had last week. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we would like to invite you to like and share. For you people that's watching over on YouTube, subscribe. Kathy, put that up there. Just push that button and you'll be subscribed and you won't miss out on all the fun we're going to have all through the winter here on Fishin' Chums. And if you'd like to send us any photos, be sure to go to our email. Email us at fishandchums@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. We get a lot of comments, a lot of photos. God bless you all. Have some nice photos coming up your way. Kathy's going to roll them here in a minute. But once again, I want to thank you for being with us. And have a great Thanksgiving week. And a lot of people like to get out. And I'd love to fish during this Thanksgiving week. And have a great Thanksgiving day. God bless you all. And we'll check you next week right here on Fishin' Chums. Roll 'em, Kathy.